negative 32 degrees in Utqiagvik, Alaska, while Miami sits at a comfortable 70 degrees. Does your city fall somewhere in this absolutely massive temperature spread that's dominating the United States right now? We are looking at over 150 million Americans dealing with either dangerous, cold, or highly unusual warmth, and what happens over the next 7 to 10 days is going to completely reshape this pattern in ways that, honestly, most people aren't expecting. I need to know where you're watching from because in exactly 90 seconds, I'm going to tell you exactly when your weather changes, down to the specific day and hour in some cases. Drop your city in the comments right now. This matters because the timing of these changes, the sequence of these systems, that's what determines whether you're dealing with flooding, whether you're seeing ice storms, whether your infrastructure can handle what's coming. Let me give you the headlines right now for the major metro areas. Boston, you're sitting at negative 15 degrees this morning, but by Tuesday afternoon, you're pushing into the low 20s. Wednesday, you're in the upper 20s. New York City, negative 15 currently, same trajectory, mid-20s by Wednesday. Philadelphia at negative 12, you're looking at the low 20s by Wednesday. But here's what nobody's talking about yet, and we'll get into this around the 12-minute mark. There's a system Wednesday night into Thursday that could bring a mix of snow and rain right along the I-95 corridor, and the placement of that is still very much in question. Chicago, you're at negative 6 this morning and your cold lingers longer than the East Coast. You don't really start the warm-up until Thursday, then by next weekend, you're finally back into the 20s. Milwaukee, same story. Minneapolis, negative 4 degrees. You've got the longest road ahead of you. Your meaningful warm-up doesn't arrive until late next week. And even then, we're talking about getting to 20 degrees. Not exactly tropical. Now the West Coast. This is where the pattern gets aggressive. Seattle at 43 degrees right now. That sounds reasonable until you realize you have multiple storm systems lined up starting Tuesday night that don't let up through next weekend. We're talking repeated heavy rain, mountain snow measured in feet, wind gusts over 50 miles per hour in exposed areas. Portland, same situation. This isn't one storm, this is a parade of atmospheric moisture coming off the Pacific. Let me explain the atmospheric setup because this matters for understanding what comes next. The Pacific North American pattern, we call it the PNA, is diving into negative territory for the rest of February and likely into early March. When the PNA goes negative, you get a deep trough that sets up along the west coast. That trough acts like a conveyor belt for storm systems coming off the Pacific Ocean. The jet stream dips southward along the west coast, then lifts northward as it crosses the Rockies and continues through the central and eastern United States. This creates a very specific temperature and precipitation pattern. Meanwhile, you get ridging from the central states through the east coast, which means warmer air pushes north, and the jet stream configuration favors a very specific storm track. This isn't just a one-day or two-day pattern. This is a multi-week setup that's going to persist through at least mid to late February. Right now, we have an upper-level low sitting across the southwest. It's been there for several days, just spinning in place. And it's finally going to start moving Tuesday into Wednesday. Here's where it gets interesting and where the models start to disagree. The GFS model, the American model, is showing this system a bit more amplified than the European model. The GFS wants to develop this into a stronger storm moving across the south-central United States, bringing rainfall to Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, maybe even a day of severe weather risk across parts of the region. The European model is more subdued, showing the system but not as organized, not as strong. This disagreement matters, and I'm going to explain exactly why. When models disagree this far out, typically 3 to 6 days, it usually means one of two things. Either there's uncertainty in the track of the system, meaning where it goes, or there's uncertainty in the intensity, meaning how strong it gets. In this case, we're dealing with both. The GFS consistently over the last several runs has been more aggressive. The European has been more conservative. The Canadian model splits the difference. What does this mean for your forecast? It means if the GFS is correct, we see heavier rainfall across the south-central states Wednesday into Thursday. It means a higher chance of severe weather, stronger winds, more organized system. If the European is correct, we still see the system, but it's weaker. Impacts are less significant. The truth, As we get closer and the models start to converge, we'll likely end up somewhere in between. This is why coming back tomorrow for updated data is absolutely critical. By tomorrow morning, we'll have new model runs. We'll start to see if the models are converging on a solution or if they're still diverging. That tells us a lot about forecast confidence. Tuesday into Wednesday, the Great Lakes and interior Northeast, you're going to see some snow. Not a major storm. We're talking a few inches in spots, mainly across interior New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. The I-95 corridor from Boston down through D.C. You probably stay too warm for significant snow. Maybe some flurries mixing in, but nothing that sticks around. Then Wednesday into Thursday, that system from the southwest interacts with Gulf moisture. And this is where things get interesting. We get a band of rain developing across the Tennessee Valley, Kentucky, Ohio Valley, eventually reaching the mid-Atlantic. On the northern edge of that system, there's going to be a zone where rain mixes with snow. This is likely across Pennsylvania, maybe parts of Maryland, northern West Virginia, possibly southern New York. We're not talking about huge accumulations in most places, maybe an inch or two, but it creates travel headaches Wednesday night into Thursday morning because you're in that transition zone where temperatures are right around 32 degrees and everything's marginal. Now, let me get specific with cities because I know that's what you're here for, and I want to make sure your specific location gets covered. We're going to go region by region, and I'm going to vary how I deliver this because I don't want this to sound like I'm just reading a list. Starting in New England, Portland, Maine, you're at -12 this morning, and honestly, that's brutal even by your standards. Your forecast parallels Boston but runs a couple degrees colder throughout. That snow Wednesday night could be heavier for you, 2 to 3 inches possible. The key is that you stay cold enough on the backside that whatever falls Wednesday night doesn't melt immediately Thursday morning. You're looking at temperatures in the teens Thursday even as this system pulls away. Bangor, sitting at -12 as well. You're in a similar situation to Portland, 2 to 3 inches Wednesday night into Thursday. I know you folks up there are tough and used to this weather, but this has been a relentless stretch of cold even by Maine standards. After Thursday's system moves through, we actually quiet down for the end of the week with temperatures gradually rising into the 20s by Friday and Saturday. Burlington, Vermont, -20 degrees this morning. You are absolutely in the deep freeze, one of the coldest spots in the lower 48 outside of the northern plains. Your warm-up is slower than areas closer to the coast. Monday, you might hit 10 degrees for a high. Tuesday, mid-teens. Wednesday, around 20. That system Wednesday night into Thursday, you could be in the sweet spot for heavier snow. 3 to 5 inches is on the table because you're on that northern edge where the cold air is still hanging on and we get better snow production. The moisture runs into that cold air mass and we get efficient snow production rates. Montpelier, -22 degrees. Even colder than Burlington. You're in the same boat forecast-wise, maybe running a degree or two colder. Rutland, -19. Same general forecast as Burlington and Montpelier. Albany, New York, you're at -20. Very similar forecast to Burlington. That Wednesday night system could give you 3 to 4 inches. Then we quiet down Thursday and Friday with slowly moderating temperatures. Syracuse, -22 degrees. You are absolutely frigid this morning. Lake effect snow from Lake Ontario continues today, mainly north of the city toward Watertown. Your week ahead features a slow warm-up and that potential for a few inches of snow Wednesday night. Around the 3 to 4 inch range is looking most likely right now. Rochester, -17. You're in a similar boat as Syracuse, though your lake effect is oriented a bit differently, mainly affecting areas along the southern shore of Lake Ontario. That Wednesday night system could bring you 3 to 4 inches. Binghamton, -19. You're in the southern tier of New York, bit more sheltered from the lake effect, but that Wednesday night system could give you 2 to 3 inches. Ithaca, -19 with some ice fog this morning. The ice fog is reducing visibility significantly. Be careful if you're traveling. Your forecast is similar to Binghamton for that Wednesday night system. Utica, -22. Very cold. You could see 3 to 4 inches Wednesday night from that system. Now let's move to the major metros in the Northeast. Boston, I mentioned you earlier, -15 this morning. High today around 5 degrees if you're lucky. Tonight back down to -10 or so. Here's your week in detail. Monday, high near 18. Mostly sunny skies. The cold air is locked in, but we're starting that gradual modification. Tuesday, low 20s. Still below freezing, but it feels dramatically better than where we are now. Wednesday, mid-20s with increasing clouds. This is when that system starts to approach. Wednesday night, we could see a period of snow mixing with or changing to rain. It depends on exactly how quickly that warm air works in aloft. I think the city proper probably sees mainly rain with maybe some wet snow at the start. If you're north and west of the city, you do better with snow. Providence, -13. Your forecast is nearly identical to Boston. That Wednesday night event probably favors more rain than snow in the city. Hartford, -17. You're a bit colder than the coastal cities. Wednesday night, you might see a bit more snow before it changes to rain. Maybe 2 inches before the changeover. New Haven, -14. Similar to Hartford. Bridgeport, -15. You're right on the coast, so you'll probably transition to rain quickly Wednesday night. Springfield, Massachusetts, -14. You could see 2 to 3 inches Wednesday night before a change to rain. Worcester, -17. You're up on higher terrain. You might actually stay all snow Wednesday night. 3 to 4 inches is possible. Manchester, New Hampshire, -15. Similar to Worcester, you could see 3 to 4 inches Wednesday night. Concord, New Hampshire, -19. Even colder. You're likely to stay all snow Wednesday night. 3 to 5 inches possible. Now, New York City, I mentioned you earlier, -15 this morning, high today around 8 degrees. Tonight, back down to -10. Here's your week. Monday, high near 18. Tuesday, low 20s. Wednesday, mid-20s, with increasing clouds. Wednesday night, this is where it gets tricky. We could see a period of snow mixing with or changing to rain. The temperature profile suggests the city starts as snow, maybe accumulates a quick inch, then changes to rain. North and west of the city, that's a different story. Newark, you're at -14. Your forecast is essentially identical to New York City. The key is going to be elevation and distance from the ocean. If you're up on any kind of ridge or hill north and west of the immediate metro area, you have a better chance of seeing accumulating snow Wednesday night. Jersey City, -14. You're close enough to the water that you'll probably be mostly rain Wednesday night. Yonkers, -15. You might do slightly better than Manhattan with snow Wednesday night. White Plains, -16. You're far enough inland and at elevation that you could see 2 to 3 inches Wednesday night before any changeover. Stamford, Connecticut, -16. Similar to White Plains. Now let me talk about Long Island for a moment. Babylon, -15. You're on the South Shore. That Wednesday night system probably gives you mainly rain with maybe some wet snow at the start. The Hamptons, running around -12 to -14. Similar forecast to the rest of Long Island. Moving into New Jersey. Paterson, -15. You could see a couple inches Wednesday night before a transition. Passaic, -15. Same forecast. Trenton, -14. You're in the capital. You'll probably see more rain than snow Wednesday night, but it could start as snow. Atlantic City, -13. You're on the coast, so this is mostly a rain event for you Wednesday night. Philadelphia, I mentioned you earlier, -12 currently, high today, around 10. Your warming trend takes you from upper teens Monday to mid-20s Wednesday. That system Wednesday night probably favors more rain than snow in the city, but your northern and western suburbs could see a couple inches of snow before it transitions to rain. Allentown, you're at -15. You might do a bit better with snow Wednesday night, 2 to 3 inches before a changeover is possible. You're at elevation and far enough north that you stay colder longer. Reading, -13. Similar to Allentown, Lancaster, -14. You could see an inch or two before changing to rain Wednesday night. York, -13. Similar to Lancaster. Harrisburg, -13. As the capital, you're in a similar position to Lancaster and York. Start as snow Wednesday night, maybe an inch or two, then change to rain. Scranton, -17. You're in the mountains of northeastern Pennsylvania. You could stay all snow Wednesday night. 3 to 4 inches possible. Wilkes-Barre, -17. Same forecast as Scranton. Now let's move south. Baltimore, -10 degrees this morning. Your warm-up is pretty aggressive. By Wednesday, you're near 30 degrees. That Wednesday night system, you're probably all rain with maybe a brief touch of snow at the very beginning. Annapolis, -8. You're close enough to the bay that you'll definitely be all rain Wednesday night. Washington, D.C., -8 degrees. Same forecast as Baltimore. Wednesday, you're near 30. Wednesday night brings rain. Maybe some wet snow mixing in at the very beginning, but nothing that amounts to much or sticks around. Alexandria, Virginia, -8. Same as D.C. Arlington, Virginia, -8. Same forecast. Silver Spring, Maryland, -9. Similar to D.C., mainly rain Wednesday night. Frederick, Maryland, -10. You're a bit further from the coast and at slightly higher elevation, you might see a brief period of snow Wednesday night before changing to rain. Richmond, Virginia, -8 degrees this morning. You warm up nicely this week. Wednesday, you're in the low 30s. That system Wednesday night could start as a brief period of snow before quickly changing to rain, but accumulations would be minimal to none in the city. Norfolk, -6. You're on the coast. This is all rain for you Wednesday night. Virginia Beach, -7. Same as Norfolk. Newport News, -7. All rain Wednesday night. Charlottesville, -9. You're in the foothills. You might see a touch of snow Wednesday night before changing to rain. Roanoke, -9. You're in the mountains of southwest Virginia. You could see 1 to 2 inches Wednesday night before changing to rain. Now, let's head to Pittsburgh because this is where it gets interesting. You're at -15 right now, and I know you folks are tough, but this has been brutal. Here's the thing about Pittsburgh. You might actually see more snow than the coastal cities Wednesday night into Thursday. The track of that low-pressure system could put you in a favorable position where you're on the cold side of the system. 3 to 6 inches is not out of the question across western Pennsylvania, and this is something we absolutely need to monitor closely, because a 50-mile shift in the track of that low makes a huge difference in who sees snow versus rain. Erie, Pennsylvania, -15. You're getting absolutely crushed by lake effect snow today and tomorrow. The setup is textbook. Cold air streaming across Lake Erie produces heavy lake effect snow bands on the southern and eastern shores. We could see another 6 to 12 inches today into Monday in the typical spots. That snow continues through tomorrow, then shuts off Tuesday as the flow changes. Wednesday night brings that clipper system through. Another 3 to 5 inches likely on top of everything else you're already dealing with. Then things quiet Thursday and Friday before we potentially see another round of lake effect next weekend as the wind direction shifts back to favorable. State College, -15. You're in central Pennsylvania. That Wednesday night system could bring you 3 to 4 inches. Johnstown, -14. Similar to State College, 3 to 4 inches Wednesday night. Altoona, -12. Same forecast. Now Cleveland, -18 degrees this morning. Brutal cold. You're getting hammered by lake effect snow today and tomorrow as cold air continues to stream across Lake Erie. Another 6 to 12 inches possible in the typical lake effect belt south and east of Cleveland today into Monday. Mentor, Chardon. These areas know exactly what I'm talking about. That lake effect continues through tomorrow, then shuts down Tuesday and Wednesday as the flow shifts. Wednesday night, that clipper system could bring you another round of snow. 3 to 5 inches possible Wednesday night into Thursday. Akron, -19. Even colder than Cleveland. You get some of that lake effect enhancement. Your forecast is similar to Cleveland for that Wednesday night system. Canton, -16. Same story, 3 to 5 inches Wednesday night. Youngstown, -18. Very similar to Cleveland and Akron. Lake effect today and tomorrow, then the potential for that Wednesday night system. Now let's talk about the Ohio cities away from the lake. Columbus, -12. You're the capital, you're central Ohio. You don't get the lake effect. Your week features a gradual warm-up with that Wednesday night system, bringing maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow. Nothing major for you, but enough to create some slippery spots Thursday morning. Cincinnati, -9. You're in southern Ohio. That Wednesday night system probably gives you mainly rain with maybe some snow mixing in at the start. Dayton, -9, similar to Cincinnati. Toledo, -11. You're on Lake Erie but oriented differently than Cleveland. You see some lake effect, but Wednesday night system might give you 2 to 3 inches. Now let's head to western Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Wheeling, -16. That Wednesday night system could bring 3 to 4 inches. Morgantown, -15. Same forecast, 3 to 4 inches. Charleston, West Virginia, -14. You're in the valleys. That Wednesday night system probably starts as snow, maybe accumulates an inch or two, then changes to rain. Huntington, -10, similar to Charleston. Now let's jump up to Buffalo because I know you folks are absolutely getting pounded. -17 degrees this morning. You are getting crushed by lake effect snow. The setup is textbook. Cold air streaming across Lake Erie. Lake-enhanced snow on the southern and eastern shores. We could see another 6 to 12 inches today into Monday in the typical spots. Orchard Park, Hamburg, south toward Springville. You know the drill. You've been dealing with this for days. That snow continues through tomorrow, then shuts off Tuesday as the flow changes. Wednesday night brings that clipper system through. Another 3 to 5 inches likely. Then things quiet Thursday and Friday before we potentially see another round of lake effect next weekend as the wind direction shifts back to favorable. Niagara Falls, -17. You're on the northern end of the metro. Your lake effect comes from Lake Ontario and it's been significant. Similar forecast to Buffalo proper. Jamestown, -15. You're in the southwestern corner of New York, getting significant lake effect. That Wednesday night system adds another 3 to 4 inches. Now, Detroit, -13. You're seeing some scattered lake effect from Lake Huron today, mainly along your eastern suburbs. Grosse Pointe, Street, Clare Shores. You're seeing some of those bands. The warm-up starts Tuesday. That Wednesday night system might give you an inch or two of snow, but nothing major. Ann Arbor, -11. West of Detroit. You don't get the lake effect. That Wednesday night system probably gives you an inch or so. Flint, -18. Similar to Detroit, but you might see slightly more snow Wednesday night, maybe 2 to 3 inches. Lansing, -13. You're in central Michigan, between the lake effect zones, so you've been a bit quieter. That Wednesday night system could bring a couple inches of snow. Grand Rapids, -11. You're on the western side of Michigan, so you're seeing some lake effect off Lake Michigan today and tomorrow. That continues. Then we transition to the Clipper Wednesday night. 2 to 4 inches possible from that system. Kalamazoo, -10. Similar to Grand Rapids. Saginaw, -14. You could see 2 to 3 inches Wednesday night. Now let's talk about the Midwest more broadly. Chicago, I talked about you earlier, -6 this morning, high today around 2 degrees. Your cold hangs on stubbornly. Monday, you get to 10. Tuesday, 15. Wednesday, low 20s. Thursday and Friday, mid to upper 20s. You stay mainly dry this week, which is actually good news because dealing with this cold is hard enough without adding snow and travel issues to the equation. Just bundle up, limit time outside, check on elderly neighbors. Naperville, -5. Same forecast as Chicago. Aurora, -5. Same story. Joliet, -6. Similar forecast. Rockford, -6. You're in northern Illinois. Same cold pattern, same gradual warm-up. Peoria, -3. You're in central Illinois. Same forecast as Chicago, essentially. Springfield, Illinois, -3. As the state capital, you're tracking similar to Peoria. Milwaukee, -3. You're tracking with Chicago on temperatures and timing. That cold just locked in over the Great Lakes region, and it's been stubborn. Madison, Wisconsin, -7. Same story as Milwaukee. That cold is persistent, but we are finally going to start moderating Tuesday and Wednesday. Green Bay, -8. You've got the cold locked in. Your warm-up is gradual through the week. Lake effect off Lake Michigan has been giving you some snow today and tomorrow. Appleton, -6. Similar to Green Bay. Duluth, -6. You're on Lake Superior, and you're staying very cold. Even by late in the week, you're only getting into the teens. That's just the reality of your location in February. Minneapolis, -4 this morning. I mentioned you earlier. The cold is relentless. Monday, you get to 5 degrees. Tuesday, 10. Wednesday, mid-teens. You're not really seeing meaningful warm-up until next weekend. And even then, we're talking low 20s. You stay dry this week. No major snow systems. That's the good news. The bad news is you're just locked in this cold air mass. Street Paul, -4. Same forecast as Minneapolis. You're the Twin Cities. You move together. Rochester, Minnesota, -5. South of the Twin Cities, but same general forecast. Street Cloud, -6. North of the Twin Cities, maybe a degree colder, but same pattern. Fargo, -4 with scattered clouds. Your week features temperatures gradually rising but very slowly. By Friday, you might hit 15 degrees. Sioux Falls, -6. Very cold. Your warm-up is gradual through the week. By Friday, you're approaching 20 degrees. Rapid City, 4 degrees this morning. You're actually doing better than areas to your east, relatively speaking. Your week features temperatures in the 20s and low 30s. Des Moines, -4. You're tracking slightly warmer than Minneapolis, but still very cold. Your warm-up arrives a bit sooner. By Thursday, you're near 20. That's still cold, but it's progress. Cedar Rapids, -3. Similar to Des Moines. Davenport, -3. You're on the Mississippi River. Same forecast as Cedar Rapids. Omaha, -2. You're in a similar situation to Des Moines. Cold now, gradual warm-up through the week. Lincoln, 1 degree. Similar to Omaha. Sioux City, -6. Cold, your warm-up is gradual through the week. Bismarck, -1 with ice fog. The ice fog is a feature of these intense cold air masses. Visibility is significantly reduced. Be very careful if you're driving. Your week ahead features temperatures gradually rising into the teens. Minot, -1. Similar forecast to Bismarck. Grand Forks, -5. Very cold. Your warm-up is slow through the week. Kansas City, Missouri, 34 degrees this morning. You're significantly warmer than areas to your north. Your week features mild conditions with temperatures in the 40s and low 50s. That Wednesday night system brings you some rain, maybe a ½ inch. Kansas City, Kansas. Same forecast as Missouri side. Topeka, 31 degrees. Similar to Kansas City. Wichita, 34 degrees. You're in southern Kansas. Your week is mild overall. That Wednesday night system might bring some light rain. Now let's shift to the south because your week looks completely different from the cold up north. Atlanta, you're at 32 degrees this morning. Sunny and cold today, high around 35. Monday, upper 30s. Tuesday, mid-40s. Wednesday, near 50 with increasing clouds. Wednesday night into Thursday, rain develops. We're looking at a ½ inch to 1 inch of rainfall, maybe locally higher amounts. Nothing severe, just a good soaking rain, which you actually need given how dry it's been. Thursday morning, the rain ends, high around 55. Friday looks nice, partly sunny, upper 50s. This is a pretty quiet week for you overall. Marietta, 32 degrees. Same forecast as Atlanta. Decatur, 32 degrees. Same forecast. Athens, Georgia, 32 degrees. Your forecast mirrors Atlanta almost exactly. That rain Wednesday night into Thursday is the main event. Augusta, Georgia, 34 degrees. You're a bit warmer than Atlanta. Same general pattern though. Macon, 34 degrees. Maybe a degree or two warmer than Atlanta, but the same general pattern. Central Georgia has been cold by your standards. Columbus, Georgia, 36 degrees. You're in western Georgia. Similar forecast to Macon. Savannah, 37 degrees. You're closer to the coast, so you run a bit milder. That rain Wednesday night into Thursday could be heavier for you. 1 inch to 1.5 inches possible. You need it too. It's been dry. Charleston, South Carolina, 33 degrees this morning. You've been unusually cold. Your warm-up through the week gets you into the low 50s by Wednesday. That rain Wednesday night into Thursday could be substantial, over 1 inch likely. Columbia, South Carolina, 31 degrees. Very similar to Charleston, you warm up nicely through the week. Greenville, South Carolina, 32 degrees. You're in the upstate. Similar forecast to Columbia. Charlotte, 27 degrees this morning. You've been cold. That warm-up gets you into the upper 40s by Wednesday. Wednesday night into Thursday, that rain arrives, ½ inch to 1 inch. On the very northern fringe of your metro area, there might be a brief period of snow or mix before it changes to rain. But I don't think you see accumulations in the city. Maybe the mountains to your west see a touch. Raleigh, 29 degrees. Very similar to Charlotte. That northern fringe might see a brief mix Wednesday night, but the city stays rain. You're North Carolina's capital, and you're going to see a nice warm-up this week. Durham, 29 degrees. Same forecast as Raleigh. The triangle moves together. Chapel Hill, 29 degrees. Same forecast. Greensboro, 25 degrees. You're a bit higher in elevation than Raleigh, so you might have a slightly better chance of seeing some snow mix in Wednesday night before changing to rain. Maybe the northern suburbs see a coating before the change. Winston-Salem, -6 degrees this morning. Actually, wait, let me correct that. You're around 26 degrees. You're in the Piedmont. Similar forecast to Greensboro. Asheville, 24 degrees this morning. You're up in the mountains. Wednesday night into Thursday, you could see this start as snow before changing to rain, maybe an inch or two before the changeover. The mountains south of the city could see more. Knoxville, 30 degrees. Your week features a gradual warm-up to around 50 by Wednesday. That system Wednesday night brings rain, maybe starting as a bit of snow in the higher elevation south of the city, but nothing significant. Chattanooga, 32 degrees. Very similar to Knoxville. You're in the Tennessee Valley. Nashville, 30 degrees this morning. Your warm-up gets you into the low 50s by Wednesday. Wednesday night into Thursday, rain develops. Possibly heavy at times. An inch to 2 inches possible. This is a beneficial rain for you. It's been dry. After that system moves through, we turn milder. Highs in the upper 50s. Friday and through the weekend, Memphis, 37 degrees. Your week is pretty mild overall. That rain Wednesday night into Thursday brings an inch or so, then we clear out and warm up. Upper 50s Friday. Little Rock, 36 degrees. Similar to Memphis. You're in Arkansas and you need this rain. Fayetteville, Arkansas, 35 degrees. You're in northwest Arkansas. Similar forecast to Little Rock. Jackson, Mississippi, 38 degrees. You're staying mild all week. That rain Wednesday night is the main event, then we warm up into the 60s for the weekend. Biloxi, 40 degrees. You're on the coast. Mild week. That Wednesday night rain. Then warming up. New Orleans, 50 degrees this morning. Your week is quiet and honestly pretty nice. Highs in the 60s, lots of sunshine. The only change is that system Wednesday night might bring you some showers, but nothing significant. Maybe a quarter to half inch. Then next week, we need to start watching for potential heavy rainfall as moisture from the Gulf interacts with systems moving through. But for this week, you're looking good. Baton Rouge, 49 degrees. Same forecast as New Orleans. Lafayette, Louisiana, 48 degrees. Similar forecast. You need rain and you might get a bit Wednesday night. Lake Charles, 49 degrees. Same story. Mobile, 42 degrees. Quiet week, mild temperatures. That Wednesday night system brings some light rain. Maybe half an inch. Pensacola, 44 degrees. Similar to Mobile. Tallahassee, 45 degrees. Quiet and mild week ahead. You're in the Florida Panhandle and you're looking good. Jacksonville, 43 degrees. Same story. Nice week overall. That Wednesday night system might clip you with a few showers. Orlando, 47 degrees. Beautiful week ahead. Sunny, mild. Highs in the upper 60s to near 70. Tampa, 47 degrees. Beautiful week ahead. Sunny, mild, highs in the 60s to near 70. Perfect February weather for you. St. Petersburg, same as Tampa. Sarasota, same forecast. Fort Myers, 50 degrees. Mild and pleasant all week. Miami, 68 degrees. You're in a different world down there. Sunny and warm all week. Highs in the mid-70s. Perfect. Fort Lauderdale, 66 degrees. Similar to Miami. West Palm Beach, 66 degrees. Same forecast. Key West, 70 degrees. Absolutely beautiful. You're the warmest spot in the nation. Now let's head to Texas and the Southern Plains. Houston, 50 degrees with fog this morning. The fog has been a persistent issue for you the last several days. This week features mild and humid conditions. Highs in the 70s. Partly cloudy skies. No significant rain expected this week. But next weekend into next week, we're going to need to watch for potential heavy rainfall as Gulf moisture gets involved with storm systems. But for this week, you're dry and mild. Galveston, 54 degrees with fog. Same as Houston. Beaumont, 52 degrees. Similar forecast. Corpus Christi, 60 degrees. You're on the coast in South Texas. Beautiful week ahead. San Antonio, 57 degrees. Partly sunny and mild today, high around 60. The entire week looks nice. Highs in the 60s to near 70. A mix of sun and clouds. No rain. This is about as good as February gets for you. Austin, 54 degrees. Same forecast as San Antonio. You're the state capital, and you're going to have a nice week. Waco, 49 degrees. Similar to Austin. Dallas, 57 degrees currently, partly sunny and cool today, high around 60. Your entire week is quiet and mild. Highs in the 60s to near 70. No rain, just enjoy it. This is nice February weather. Fort Worth, 57 degrees. Same as Dallas. The Metroplex moves together. Plano, 53 degrees. Same forecast as Dallas. Arlington, 53 degrees. Same forecast. Irving, 54 degrees. Same forecast. Denton, 53 degrees. North of Dallas, same forecast. Abilene, 54 degrees. You're in West Texas. Mild week ahead. Lubbock, 47 degrees. You're in the Panhandle. Cooler than areas to your south, but still a nice week. Amarillo, 36 degrees. You're the coldest spot in Texas. Your week features temperatures in the 40s to near 50. El Paso, 39 degrees. You're in far west Texas. Your week features temperatures in the 50s. Midland, 49 degrees. You're in the Permian Basin. Mild week ahead. Odessa, 48 degrees. Same as Midland. Oklahoma City, 48 degrees. Your week is mild overall. A few weak systems might bring some clouds, but no significant rain. That Wednesday night system might bring a few showers. Tulsa, 45 degrees. Similar to Oklahoma City. Norman, 48 degrees. Same forecast as Oklahoma City. Now the West Coast, this is where things get very active and we need to spend significant time here because this is going to be a multi-day, high-impact event. Seattle, 43 degrees with passing clouds. Let me lay out your week in detail because it's going to be eventful. Today, Sunday, high around 48 with light rain developing this afternoon into this evening. Tonight, rain becomes steadier and could get heavy at times, especially after midnight. Monday, rain, windy at times, high around 50. We could see 1 to 2 inches of rain in the city Monday, more in the mountains, significantly more. Monday night, rain continues, could be heavy. Tuesday, this is where it gets really active. Rain, possibly heavy, high around 48. Another 1 to 2 inches possible in the city. Tuesday night into Wednesday, another surge of heavy rain moves through. Wednesday, showers continue but start to become more scattered, high around 50. This is just the first wave. We have another system Thursday into Friday, then another one next weekend. When we add everything up from today through next Sunday, rainfall totals could approach or exceed 6 inches in Seattle. That's a lot of rain in a short period. Urban flooding becomes a concern. Poor drainage areas, areas near streams and creeks. You need to be aware. The Duwamish, the Cedar River. These areas could see rises in water levels. Tacoma, 41 degrees. Your forecast is essentially identical to Seattle. You're close enough that you're in the same weather pattern. Olympia, 39 degrees with fog. Same forecast as Seattle and Tacoma. Everett, 41 degrees. North of Seattle, same forecast. Bellingham, 39 degrees. You're up near the Canadian border. Same active pattern, maybe even more rain than Seattle. Portland, Oregon, 46 degrees with light rain. Your forecast is essentially a carbon copy of Seattle. Multiple storms, heavy rain at times, very windy conditions Tuesday and Wednesday. Wind gusts along the coast and in the gorge could reach 50 to 60 miles per hour. Exposed areas in the metro could see gusts of 40 miles per hour. This isn't just rain, this is wind as well. Secure loose objects. Expect power outages are possible, especially in areas with a lot of trees. Salem, 45 degrees. You're south of Portland. Similar forecast, but maybe slightly less rain. Eugene, 45 degrees with light rain. You're in the southern Willamette Valley. Similar forecast to Salem. Bend, 39 degrees with light rain. You're on the east side of the Cascades. You'll see some of this moisture, but not as much as the west side. Medford, 43 degrees. You're in southern Oregon. You'll see rain from these systems, but not quite as much as Portland and Seattle. Now the mountains, this is where the snow totals get absolutely impressive. The Cascades are going to get buried. I'm talking multiple feet of snow. Mount Rainier could see 5 to 8 feet of new snow from today through next weekend. That's not a typo. 5 to 8 feet. The ski resorts are going to be ecstatic, but it's going to be dangerous too. Avalanche risk is going to be high. The ski resorts, Crystal Mountain, Stevens Pass, Snoqualmie Pass. These are going to see periods of whiteout conditions with very heavy snow. Travel through the passes will be very difficult, potentially impossible at times. If you have travel planned through the Cascades this week, you need to have flexibility and alternative routes ready. Mount Hood could see 4 to 6 feet. Bachelor, 3 to 5 feet. This is exceptional snowfall even for February. Northern California, same story. Mount Shasta could see 4 to 6 feet of new snow from this series of storms. Lassen Peak, similar amounts. This is significant snowfall. Sacramento, 49 degrees with fog. You actually stay mostly dry this week compared to areas to your north. Some light rain possible Tuesday, otherwise partly cloudy skies and highs in the mid-50s to around 60. You're south of that main storm track that's hammering the Pacific Northwest. Stockton, 42 degrees. Similar to Sacramento. Modesto, 43 degrees with fog, same forecast. Fresno, 46 degrees with fog. You're in the Central Valley. Mainly dry week. Bakersfield, 45 degrees with fog. Same story. San Francisco, 52 degrees with passing clouds. You stay mostly dry this week. Some light rain possible Tuesday, maybe a quarter inch. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies and highs in the mid-50s to around 60. Oakland, 51 degrees with fog. Same as San Francisco. San Jose, 45 degrees with fog. Same forecast. Santa Cruz, 46 degrees. You might see a bit more rain than San Francisco, maybe half an inch Tuesday. Los Angeles, 55 degrees and sunny. Your week is beautiful. Sunny skies, highs in the mid-60s, cool mornings in the 40s to near 50. No rain expected. This is perfect February weather for Southern California. Long Beach, 54 degrees. Same as LA. Pasadena, 55 degrees. Same forecast. Santa Monica, 56 degrees. Same forecast. Burbank, 55 degrees. Same forecast. San Diego, 53 degrees. Same forecast as LA, just a couple degrees cooler overall. Beautiful week ahead. Anaheim, 54 degrees. Same forecast. Now let's head inland. Phoenix, 59 degrees with passing clouds. Sunny and pleasant all week. Highs in the low to mid-60s. This is perfect weather. Clear skies, light winds, just beautiful Arizona winter weather. Scottsdale, 58 degrees. Same as Phoenix. Mesa, 56 degrees. Same forecast. Tempe, 57 degrees. Same forecast. Tucson, 55 degrees. Similar to Phoenix. Beautiful week ahead. Flagstaff, 31 degrees. You're at 7,000 feet in elevation. You could see some snow Tuesday night into Wednesday from these systems. Maybe 2 to 4 inches. Prescott, 37 degrees. Similar to Flagstaff, maybe an inch or two of snow Tuesday night. Las Vegas, 54 degrees. Sunny and nice all week. Highs in the upper 50s to low 60s. Perfect weather for outdoor activities. Henderson, 54 degrees. Same as Las Vegas. Reno, 31 degrees with passing clouds. You're on the colder side because you're at elevation. Your week features temperatures in the 40s, and you might see some snow Tuesday night into Wednesday. Maybe 2 to 4 inches possible before things clear out. Now let's hit the Intermountain West. Salt Lake City, 39 degrees with passing clouds. You've been on the edge of these systems, not really getting much precipitation. Tuesday night into Wednesday, you could see some snow, maybe 2 to 4 inches. Then we clear out Wednesday night and Thursday. The pattern next weekend might be slightly more favorable for you to see some moisture. Provo, 37 degrees. Similar to Salt Lake City. Ogden, 36 degrees. Same forecast. Boise, 45 degrees and overcast. Your week is relatively quiet compared to areas to your west. Maybe some light rain or snow Tuesday, but nothing significant. Pocatello, 40 degrees. Similar to Boise. Idaho Falls, 38 degrees. You could see a bit of snow Tuesday night. Spokane, 39 degrees and overcast. You could see some rain and snow Tuesday into Wednesday, maybe an inch or two of snow possible in the city. Missoula, 41 degrees and overcast. Similar to Spokane. Billings, 39 degrees with passing clouds. Your week is relatively quiet and mild by your standards. Temperatures in the 40s. Now let's cover the Rockies and Mountain West. Denver, 35 degrees with passing clouds. Your week is quiet and cold. Highs in the 30s and low 40s. Partly cloudy skies. No significant snow. The big pattern change impacting the West Coast isn't really affecting you much this week. That could change next week as we get into mid-February. Colorado Springs, 36 degrees. Similar to Denver. Boulder, 39 degrees. Same forecast as Denver. Fort Collins, 36 degrees. Same forecast. Cheyenne, 37 degrees. Similar to Denver and Colorado Springs. Pueblo, 37 degrees. Same forecast. Albuquerque, 34 degrees and clear. Sunny and cool all week. Highs in the 40s to near 50. Santa Fe, 31 degrees. You're at higher elevation. Similar forecast to Albuquerque, but a few degrees cooler. Now we need to talk about what happens next weekend into the following week, roughly February 15th onward, because this is where the forecast gets really interesting and honestly really uncertain. I'm going to be completely transparent with you about what we know and what we don't know. All the models are showing a significant storm system developing next weekend, somewhere in the Saturday the 15th to Sunday the 16th time frame. The question is, where does it develop and where does it track? This is at 7 to 10 days out, which is right at the limit of useful model guidance. The GFS model has been very aggressive with this system for several runs now. It's showing a storm developing across the central United States and tracking toward the northeast with heavy snow. We're talking potentially a major winter storm for the northeast if the GFS is correct. The European model has been taking a different track, showing the system moving more across the southeast, which would mean rain for most areas, not snow. This is a classic example of model disagreement at 7 to 10 days out. When models disagree like this, it tells us that the pattern supports storm development, but the exact details aren't clear yet. Think of it like this. We know there's going to be a storm. We just don't know exactly where it's going to go or how strong it's going to be. Here's what I can tell you with some confidence. The pattern next week favors storm development. We're going to have warm air surging north from the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to have cold air still in place across the northern tier of the country, and these ingredients coming together create an environment favorable for storms. The jet stream pattern supports it. The temperature gradient supports it. Storm development is likely. What I cannot tell you with confidence is exactly where that storm tracks and who sees what. If it tracks more like the GFS shows, we're looking at a significant winter storm for the Northeast, potentially a major snowstorm. If it tracks more like the European shows, we're looking at a rain event for the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic. The difference between these two solutions is several hundred miles, and that makes all the difference in terms of impacts. This is why checking back tomorrow and in the coming days is so important. By tomorrow morning, we'll have new model runs. We'll start to see if the models are converging on a solution or if they're still diverging. By Tuesday, we'll have even more data. By Wednesday, we should have a much clearer picture of what next weekend looks like. For the West Coast, specifically California, next week looks very active. The trough deepens, we get multiple strong systems, and the snow in the Sierra Nevada continues to pile up. The National Weather Service has already issued outlooks for heavy precipitation along the entire West Coast from the 15th through the 21st. This is going to be a long-duration event. Days and days of rain and mountain snow. They have a moderate risk for heavy precipitation along the southern Oregon coast and the northern California coast. When we look at rainfall totals for the next 10 days, the West Coast is looking at several inches of rain, possibly 6 to 12 inches in favored locations, and it really concentrates next weekend into next week. Wind is also going to be a major factor. The outlook shows a slight risk for high winds from the western states into the central states from the 15th through the 19th. This is all next week. They have higher confidence in strong winds from the 15th through the 17th, showing that darker shaded area on the outlook. We could see winds gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour in the valleys, 60 miles per hour or higher in the mountains and exposed areas. And along the coast, we could see even stronger gusts. Now the snow, and this is where it gets really impressive. They have a slight risk for heavy snow extending from the 16th through the 18th, even all the way to the 21st across the Rocky Mountains. But they've upgraded parts of this to a moderate risk from the 15th through the 17th, and in the highest elevations of California, the Sierra Nevada, they have a high risk. This is where we're talking about 7 to 10 feet of snow being possible, maybe more in the most favored locations. This is exceptional snowfall. When you look at the model trends, the European model shows significant snow across the interior Northeast in about 3 to 4 days, the Wednesday into Thursday timeframe I've been talking about. This could be a major snowfall event for places like Vermont, New Hampshire, northern Maine. We need to get closer to get better details on exactly where the heaviest snow falls and how much we're talking about, but several inches is looking likely for the higher terrain. As we go past this weekend and past those cold fronts, into that warmer pattern for the eastern United States, this is where the cold really kicks in from the west, potentially bringing multiple feet of snow to the mountains in the west. The Canadian model agrees with the European on this overall pattern, showing not a big northeast snowstorm early next week, but showing multiple locations in the west, especially California, receiving multiple feet of snow. The consistency between the European and Canadian models on this gives us more confidence in that forecast. Now, the GFS model, as I mentioned, is doing its own thing. It's showing different snow patterns across the Midwest and a significant snowstorm for the Northeast. But this is not the trend. We don't even have an outlook from the National Weather Service supporting what the GFS is showing. That storm it's depicting is literally at 7 to 8 days out, which is right at the edge of predictability. And the GFS has been known to develop phantom storms at that range that don't materialize. As we go through Friday of this week, that upper-level low swinging across the southwest and southeast, the GFS wants to develop that into a major storm system tracking toward the northeast by Sunday, 7 days away, bringing a big snowstorm to the northeast. Then right behind that, it develops another big storm. You can see tight pressure gradients. These would bring potential blizzard conditions if they verified. One of these systems is past 10 days out. The other is at 7 to 8 days. The European model takes that first system across the southeast, not toward the northeast. The second system, the one at 9 to 10 days, that's the one we need to watch more closely as we get better data. The bottom line is this: we have a lot of weather coming. The pattern is active. The West Coast is going to see repeated storm systems with heavy rain and mountain snow. The East Coast has a warm-up coming, with a system Wednesday night into Thursday that brings rain and snow depending on your location. Then next week, we're likely to see additional storm systems develop, but the exact details of where and when are still coming into focus. What I need you to do is come back tomorrow. The models will have updated overnight. We'll have new data from the morning runs. The forecast for that Wednesday night into Thursday system will be more clear. We'll have better timing, better precipitation types, better snow amounts where snow is expected, and we'll start to get a better handle on what next weekend and next week look like. This is a classic case where the pattern tells us storms are coming, but the specifics are still being determined. I can't tell you with certainty whether next weekend brings a major snowstorm to the northeast or a rain event to the southeast or something in between. What I can tell you is the pattern supports storm development, and we will know significantly more in 24 to 48 hours as the models continue to refine the forecast. For those of you in the West dealing with this repeated rainfall and mountain snow, please take this seriously. Flooding is a real concern with these rainfall amounts. 6 inches of rain in a week is a lot. Urban flooding, stream flooding, these are real possibilities. In the mountains, avalanche danger will be elevated with all this new snow falling on existing snowpack. If you're recreating in the mountains, check avalanche conditions before you go. If you're traveling through the mountain passes, give yourself extra time. Carry emergency supplies, chains, blankets, food, water, and be prepared for rapidly changing conditions and potential closures. For those in the east dealing with this cold, we're almost through it. The worst of it is today and tomorrow. The warm-up starts Tuesday, and by Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures will be significantly warmer. It might not feel like much of a warm-up when we're going from -15 to 25 degrees, but that's a 40-degree temperature change, and it will feel dramatically different. You'll actually be able to go outside without your face hurting within seconds. And for everyone watching, regardless of where you are, this is why we do these updates every day. Weather patterns evolve, forecasts change. What we think is going to happen at 7 days out can and does shift as we get new model data and new observations. The atmosphere is chaotic. Small changes in initial conditions can lead to big changes in outcomes. This is why meteorology is as much art as science, especially at longer ranges. I want to emphasize something important. The forecast beyond 72 hours has significant uncertainty. When I'm telling you about next weekend's potential storm, I'm giving you a heads up that something is likely coming, not that I can tell you exactly where and when with precision. That precision comes as we get closer and the models have less time to spin up potential solutions. The models will continue to adjust. Some runs will show storms closer to the coast. Some runs will show storms further inland. Some runs will be more aggressive with snowfall amounts, others less so. This is the nature of medium-range forecasting. We work with probabilities and trends, not certainties. We look at model agreement and disagreement. We look at pattern recognition. We look at climatology and analogs to similar patterns in the past. What I can tell you with high confidence is that this week, meaning the next 5 to 7 days, the West Coast sees multiple storm systems with heavy rain and mountain snow. Rainfall totals of 3 to 6 inches in the lowlands, more in favored locations. Mountain snow measured in feet. Strong winds, especially Tuesday and Wednesday. Travel impacts. Flooding concerns. The East Coast sees a warm-up with a system Wednesday night into Thursday that brings a mix of precipitation depending on location. Rain for areas that stay warm enough. Snow for areas that stay cold enough. A mixed zone in between. Then we quiet down late week before potentially seeing more action next weekend into next week. What I can tell you with moderate confidence is that next week, roughly the 15th onward, the West Coast pattern remains very active with continuing storms. The East Coast likely sees additional storm systems, but the exact track and intensity are still being determined. Check back daily for updates as the forecast evolves. What I cannot tell you with any real confidence is whether there will be a major snowstorm for the Northeast on February 16th or 17th. The GFS model suggests this possibility. Other models do not. At this range, 7 to 10 days out, it's simply too early to know. The pattern supports storm development somewhere, but exactly where and exactly when is still unclear. This is why checking back tomorrow is so important. We'll have 12 to 24 hours of additional model data. The forecast will sharpen. The uncertainties will reduce, at least for the short term. We'll have a much better idea of what Wednesday night into Thursday looks like for the East, and we'll start to see the models potentially come into better agreement about next weekend. I know it's frustrating when forecasts have uncertainty. People want to know exactly what's going to happen. They want to plan. They want to prepare. But I'd rather tell you the truth about the uncertainty than give you a forecast I'm not confident in. Weather forecasting has improved dramatically over the decades, but we still have limits, especially at 7 to 10 days out. The skill of the models decreases as we go further out in time. So here's what I need from you. Drop your city in the comments if you haven't already. Let me know where you're watching from and what your primary weather concerns are. Tomorrow's forecast will be more tailored to specific regions as we have better data. And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you get alerts when the next update drops. The pattern is active. Changes are coming. Some of those changes will bring improved conditions. Some will bring challenging weather. Either way, we'll be here every day keeping you updated with the latest information and the best forecast we can provide given the available data. For the West Coast, hunker down. This is going to be a wet week with significant mountain snow. For the East Coast, relief is coming from this cold. But don't let your guard down completely because we have that system Wednesday night to deal with. For the Midwest and Plains, you're kind of caught in between. Gradual improvements, but nothing dramatic happening this week. Stay safe out there. Check back tomorrow for updated information. And remember that weather patterns evolve and forecasts will continue to be refined as we get closer to these events. The science is good, but it's not perfect, especially at longer ranges. We'll continue to monitor, continue to analyze, and continue to bring you the best information available. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.